such a big moment. Mainly because the printing was running behind and I was signing tomorrow and they didn't get delivered till today, so you can imagine my neurosis. And you know when people tell you they're going to do something and it doesn't happen, but then you're like, okay, of all things I can let go, me telling the store the books aren't coming would not be one of them. So from Monday till this point, I was like, are they going to be on time? Am I going to have to be humiliated? What's my speech going to be on Twitter? Yes, I can accept that there was a mistake. Like, I was already, like, mapping out how I was going to do this. You know, the MILF and basketball was completely my idea. But when I originally shot it, I used the Jordan ball that was in that case. Yeah, I took all my sports memorabilia and shot it that day. Just to never have pictures with it. We cleaned it, but I was able to show them, like, what the picture would have looked like with that signature on it, which is fun for my fans, especially my fan who bought me the ball. And it's also like a good luck thing because I love Michael Jordan so much. I was like, if he's part of this cover somehow, even if it gets wiped off. These are the pictures that I use. We'll probably want to go through this at a better angle, but these are the pictures I used to write to the companies in Pennsylvania, from Pennsylvania. So I would hire a photographer.
I remember those days.
Right.
Like that outfit.
And the backdrop.
Yeah,
and the backdrop.
yeah.
You remember when photographers use that backdrop?
Yeah.
You know, I was getting like my Blossom thing on there. You could tell I still wasn't totally comfortable being naked, but I was really trying. You know, I mean, it's even looking at these girls like they're like some. Oh, here I was. This was the Venus swimwear era, if you remember that from being from the East Coast. I mean, everybody remembers this. You're on Me Too, right? Yeah. Good. So you can see this was before nose job. This was before they sent me things and said, you have to get your nose done. That was my first letters back from California.
I remember you pre the...
Yeah. My brother came to a bikini contest, super random, but he wasn't cool enough to get into clubs unless I was working there.
Billy's like, that's my life.
That was my life. We did a show about it.
Oh, Palin. I wrote a lot. There was a lot of fun stuff with Palin. Like, this was when Nina Hartley and Jada Fire, the very first time they got to read the script. Nina's just got the greatest personality, and that is such a full-life photo of her smiling like that.
I really
you know,
like her, yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's just
an
a great
intellectual,
woman.
you know, and
she's just
she
good.
gets it,
She's
you
got
know.
not a bad bone in her body, no jealousy, no spite, no. She doesn't get this generation's negativity. Like it just, she looks at me and says.
By the way, I love her high school yearbook picture that she showed me. It's like one other thing. I'm like, oh, I get it. She's like, these are the people that become porn stars, right there. And she showed me the picture, and I was like.
When a bunch of girls were hating on me,
she was like, I was so ignored. It was like,
one girl called, said something really nasty when I was at an event, and she was there, and she was texting me about it. And she's like, this girl's saying that you're so old and ugly, and it's so good that you're leaving the business. And she writes, well, what does that make me? Because I'm a lot older than you. Like, to her, she just didn't get the hatred at all.
Right.
You know, so I collected a lot of good little BTS shots from this is when the director's like got you right before your sex scene. He's like telling you like, this is what we want you to do. Like, you've never done this before. You hired me for this job because you know
I like to do things a little differently. I shoot over the butt.
This is Matt McGann, the kid who made the college game day sign that was posted on ESPN, and I reached out to him, became good friends with. Matt made a sign.
What game?
He made a sign that said, I think I have it in here. Yeah, it's right here. Baylor's defense has more holes to fill than Lisa Ann. And when I saw this on college game day, I was so impressed with the fact that this kid and his friends got the sign past the screeners and that they had the clever instinct to do this.
Nobody even know what it means, like, you know, at the institution, right?
Well, it was a trifold sign. They
Gotcha.
trifolded it, and when the screeners were looking, it was this way, and as soon as they turned around, he opened it. So understand that within 4 hours, I was able to have a fan find this kid on Twitter, and I was able to reach out to him and be like, yo, I want to hear the story about the sign. I want to know what made you think about doing it. What did your friends say?
It's so frat-tastic. It's crazy.
So
And it just smelled.
it was a major frat move and all those things.
Yeah.
So we ended up going that was around early December. So I said, yo, do you want to be my date for AVN this year? So he met me in Vegas. He was underage, so I couldn't do much with him because you can't even really walk through the casino. You know? So he came in for the night, went to the awards. It was hectic. We didn't get to really talk, but we started to get to know each other. And he just was one of these guys. He is this one.
Oh.
He's one of these guys never tried to fuck me, never that way. Just could see how everyone treated me at AVN. I think realized like, okay, I'm gonna be something different. We're cool. She wasn't offended by this sign. So we became such good friends. I invited him again this year. So this is this year at AVN.
So cool.
And I went and spent a week at his school last year. He's actually going to school for sports broadcast. And these are all of his friends in his apartment. We watched March Madness every night for a week after school. All of his teachers let me go to his classes.
That's the best picture ever. Brian, you have to see this picture.
Oh.
This is like, could you imagine her at University of Arizona? Oh my God, look at this. Look at the middle.
I was wearing my Shiva
It's like
Bowl
him and his
shirt.
whole frat. She
Yep.
comes up with they held up a sign that basically at a football game
Here's
that
the
said
sign.
Baylor has more holes to fill than Lee Sam. So
There
she
was
found them,
difference.
contacted them,
Oh my
went to
God.
his college, met all of his friends, watched sports with them for a week.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And because he's going to sports broadcast, after our first run at AVN, he actually got an internship at a radio station in Houston by home because they heard him doing so many interviews about us. And now this kinship with us, this kind of helps spike his momentum. I was his school project last year. We did a 3-day shoot at school where we did a video. I interviewed all of his friends interviewed me, and he edited it himself and put it together, and it's just a dope piece. When I was asking him, so I asked him on TMZ Live if he would be my date for AVN. So they were capturing it, he was capturing it. He was smart enough to be videoing his parents' reaction when we were talking on the phone. So he used a clip of his parents jumping up and down thinking this is the coolest shit ever, that he was going to AVN with me. He put it in the video.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
it's
cool.
a great. I'll send it to you guys so you have the piece.
Bryce, did you hear this story? Bryce?
So good.
Where's Bryce?
Yeah, the intern,
You knew this story?
Yeah, I mean, we were going to talk about it.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's the funniest thing. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
We were talking about Sue's Randall.
Oh, Sue's.
Yeah.
Sue's Rendell.
So I had Holly shoot my cover at Sue's ranch.
Holly's her daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sue's came up and did some shots with me, and I wrote a bit about Sue's. And
Holly interned with my lawyer a few years ago.
I met JoJo through Holly.
Oh,
Yep,
nice.
that's how we started. I met my webmaster through Susan Holly.
cool.
I read a little bit about fitness.
Right.
Oh, this is great. This was my roadie I traveled with, and this was our favorite photo we took together. It was just like a rock star looking. He used to be in a band. I had to drive my first 2 years on the road because nobody pays your travel. And he was the perfect person to do that with. He didn't drink or do drugs. And
So
I
you
could
guys
just-
pretty much did the exact copy of the poster for Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
That's like Amanda Peterson over there.
It's perfect.
What are you talking about?
Look at this. Tell
I
me-
don't know if I
look
should
at-
pity
Brian
you
will know
or
it in
be
2
happy
seconds.
to lawnmower.
Hey, Jordan,
No,
do you want to
that's-
page
Oh,
through?
that
poster
is.
Can't
Oh
Buy Me
my
Love.
God,
Ah, it's your
That's
coffee.
crazy.
But look at her hat
Awesome.
too. It's like right out of Can't Buy Me
It
Love.
so is. Love it. It's amazing.
There should be a good San Fran picture coming up soon. The ghetto hotels, but
Oh,
you just
yeah.
didn't care. I used to, inspired by Terry Weigel. I'm wearing a white coat, standing out front of my sign, naked.
Is that how you say her name?
Terry Weigel.
I thought it was Weigel.
Yeah, no. Everyone says it different.
It's Weigel.
You'll see hashtags in my book where I kind of made it like an easy read for people to have some fun with. But my first 2 years driving on the road with sledge driving, I had a 4-foot bong that went everywhere with me, and it was named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nice.
I like it.
So it's hashtag Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, that's part of me.
It's a tobacco water pipe bomb.
Yeah, of course. My very first day on a set, wasn't doing hardcore. I was just shooting bondage, which back then there wasn't any hardcore or any sex. It was for Ira Levine, who's married to Nina Hartley. And
Still?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I got dropped off there by this agent who was taking care of me for my first month, a stranger. He drops me off at this house on Hollywood and Vine, and the whole place is rigged. And there's stuff everywhere, hanging from the ceiling, drawers and nuts and bolts. And they must have seen the look on my face was pure like, this is where I'm going to die. Like,
Right.
We didn't have cell phones, you had a pager. What good's a pager going to do? You need somebody to page you. You can't
people.
page out. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought I was going to die there, and it ended up being this just really interesting, cool day. It's the first time I've put my feet in the Pacific Ocean. I had that labeled in my photo album. That was very important. Just little flashbacks. Gosh. I got arrested at the Jersey Shore with my friend Angela, and this was when we were shopping on the boardwalk for some slutty dresses to get into a bar underage. We stopped at this basketball thing, and it's just funny when you go back in an old photo and you're like, I was 16, I was already so into basketball. Big hair. But yeah, we did get arrested that night. We got cuffed and stuff. Oh, this is me in 5th grade. I won a creative writing contest for the state of Pennsylvania. My grandfather submitted a poem that I had written, and this was on the cover of the newspaper.
I love that.
I have it blown up somewhere in here because I took it all down to scan it.
You do have it?
Yeah, I do have it. I have it in a box. I'm going to bring that box up for you guys and go through
Awesome.
all the photos that I would use for the book, as well as the ones that didn't make the cut.
This is funny. If it seems like I'm not answering you back right away, it's because I want to make sure we get everything cleanly, and I don't want to speak over you. You're like, or do you care? How come he's not saying anything?
The woman that I was telling you guys about earlier, Peggy. This was her in front of her place. She was 90 at this time. She lived to be almost 102. The neat thing of this story is she never wore pants. She was from the generation of women that didn't wear pants. And that day she had a ladder and she was actually scraping stuff off and repainting her own house at 90. And I was like, this is not what the normal 90-year-old does. Great part of my life. My grandfather, this was a couple days before he passed away. It was my last visit with him. And it was a great visit.
He was a Brooklyn Dodger fan.
And that's an old pennant, so you recognize that pennant. Well, this trophy right here was because he had just won a Wii bowling tournament at the nursing home. And I was like, the dude was the coolest man alive until the day he died. Wii bowling trophy up in the crib. Just like amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's good to let people know a little bit about you, right? Your family. My grandmother, the nicest woman in the world. The Italian grandmother.
Do you have a high school yearbook picture?
I do. Let's find the high school yearbook picture with the super big hair.
I'm a huge fan of the high school yearbook.
Oh, there's the high school yearbook picture. What do you think of that? Big hair. Yep. Big eyebrows. I mean, we just eyebrows. I think there's one with even bigger hair coming up in here. Oh, here's me bikini contest style. And ironically, when I was going through all these photos, I was trying to find a photo of the first girl I ever hooked up with and the first girl that was like, got me in trouble. And it was this girl right here, the third girl in. Her name was Tanya. And I couldn't believe I found a photo with her in it. And that just like, flashing back through these trunks and going through these photos was an awesome experience. Look at me rocking it. No, real boobs, big hair, scrunchy around the ankle. That was a big look back then.
Of course.
We don't know why.
Just look at your sister's photos.
I know, Hawaiian Tropic Days.
Oh, God.
Hawaiian Tropic Days. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, my wedding photo.
Handsome fellow.
Oh, yeah. And ironically, this tree right here, so we were supposed to get married in front of this tree. And we did our photos, and just as we were setting up for the wedding, it started downpouring. So we had to move everything under these tents. And it was just like bizarre. And then let's flash forward we got married 2001. So 2013, this mansion opens up a new restaurant in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. And it was after Katrina. And after Katrina, this tree got wiped out, but they saved the wood. And they made this whole restaurant out of the wood from the tree that we had our wedding photos taken in front of. Tables, chairs. So of course I was like, well, it's all broken up. The wedding, the tree, the wood. Fascinating though.
When I was in college, I went to school in Eastern North Carolina, and we built a bar. We tore down an old tobacco barn. We planed all the old wood.
Oh, it's so cool.
And even
so
after we
cool.
lacquered it, the old tobacco smell, because it's a 200-year-old
Yeah,
bar. It's
yeah.
fantastic. It's really great.
I own a day spa in Huntington Beach called Karma, the Day Spa. I had it for 4 years. It was a little break in my career. After I stopped shooting in 1997, and then I met my husband. We were traveling on the road. I was feature dancing a bit, but we wanted to have something else going. Now, 9/11 changed everything for the feature dancers. We were on the road during that event. So when we came back from the road, that same week we came back, the first thing I did was made an appointment at the spa. She was going out of business. 3 weeks with no customers. It was just a crazy situation, and overnight I bought that spa. And I was like, this is our new job. Since we can't go on the road and I'm not shooting, this is what we're going to do. So it ended up being a profitable business for me. I learned, it was like college education.
Just explain, why couldn't you go on the road, though? Because of 9/11?
All the bookings were canceled. No one wanted to fly. The agents, none of the clubs were going to spend money flying girls. You know, after 9/11, for probably about 6 months,
Yeah.
no clubs had feature dancers. And we were just afraid.
Were there feature dancers, though, like locally, or could you drive to Vegas?
Spearmint
and
Rhinos were the
Spearmint?
clubs that I was able to drive to.
Right.
Yep. And it's funny you mention that because I did leopard carpet in the hallway of Karma, and I did my logoing you'll see some leopard because the Spirit Rhino was leopard carpet.
Yeah, I mean, I was single in like 2002. I remember.
Yeah,
There were
yeah.
still features. No.
Yeah, there's still some features
I
out
remember.
there.
I remember
Just driving.
September 15th Rhino.
You guys have seen that, my Jordan jersey. My husband tried to take it in the divorce. It was the one thing that I fought for, so that's why we discuss it in the book. That was mine, and when I got the Jordan jersey, oh my God, I told them to black out my name, and they didn't, but it's okay, it's on Wikipedia anyway. Well, when I got the Jordan jersey, I was at a feature booking in Kansas City, Missouri, and I was doing a signing, and these guys approached me, and they said, hey, we have these trading cards, and these trading cards, you send it in, and you'll get a autographed, signed Michael Jordan jersey from Topps, and I was married. My husband's like, oh, they're scamming us, don't do it. I'm like, yo, let's just give them VHS and some magazines. What's it going to hurt, right? So, I took it. Next morning I wake up, I walk right to the post office, I fill out the thing, I mail it. 2 weeks later we go home from our tour, and the Jordan jersey's there.
It had to have been from Upper Deck, though, not
But
Topps.
wait, the FBI sends me a letter, which is also in the book. There were counterfeit cards out there, and they couldn't prove whose cards were counterfeit, but what happened was, let's say they made 200 of these signed jerseys, but 400 cards came out. So we like first come, first serve. So I'm not saying my card was not legit. I'm saying I got my jersey, and when I got the letter from the FBI, I was like, super dope, man. The FBI is writing to me like, who gets a letter from the FBI that isn't like, you're going to jail. And it says everything they wanted, so I wrote the FBI back the exact story. And I told a little fib, and I said that I had given the Jordan jersey to my brother as a wedding gift because I was so concerned they were going to ask for it back if they could prove my card was bogus. Right? Because my story sounded like...
Right. Well, like, do they really have the manpower to go on fishing, like a trail? Create a web. Create a web to get to the...
1999. I don't know the truth. I'm afraid of everything. I got to let them... They know where I am.
It's
And they know my jersey.
Amazed to get to the Jordan jersey.
But the fact that I'm such a scrapbooker, I would like to call myself a scrapbooker and not a hoarder, if that's okay. So the fact that I'm a scrapbooker and not a hoarder, I still have that letter from the FBI from 1999. And I just thought it was dope to put it in there with the book because it's a highlight,
Yeah, they stopped. What happened was when Jordan signed an exclusive deal with Upper Deck, I think they stopped doing the redemptions because of that reason. People were
scamming him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what they did is they started including his numbered autographs in packs.
Here's a scene, a nice little shoot that Suze Randall directed when I got back in the business. As you can see, I'm a team owner, and I'm scolding one of my players in the locker room. We had some nice colors.
The guy looks a little bit like a young Jordan. I'm like, that's crazy.
Like from a distance, I was like,
his name was Ice Cold. He was the perfect guy for a basketball shoot. Her and I did a lot of really fun scenarios together. When I had my agency, I was at a Lakers game, and there was Jeremy Piven. And it was in the peak of Entourage. And I was so inspired by what an asshole he was in that show, So I walked up to him, and I said to my friend, I'm not a fan, that asks for photos, because I hate it when people do it to me, but I wanted that photo. So I said to my friend, set up the camera, I'm going to walk up and talk to him, just let's get a photo. And I said to him, I'm the porn Ari Gold. This is what I do. And we 2-second talk, got my photo, and walked off. That was such a good show.
he walked off because he was nervous. Probably he loved it. I know Jeremy well enough to know he loved it.
And you'll like this photo. So here I am as Palin, reading a Palin magazine, and it's bizarre how close we look in that picture.
Yeah, that's on the money.
I did my conclusion of this was a draft that I did, a great celebrity draft I did last year at Lake Tahoe. Chris Collinsworth, he beat me by .2. It was brutal. I thought I was going to win. I was going to win till that last minute. It's Chris Collinsworth, Rob Riggle, Jay Peterman from SmackDown, Rascal Flatts, race car driver, Fred McGriff.
who's the girl next to you?
Pilar Lastra. Pilar Lastra is a Playboy Playmate who also does a fantasy football show on my network. Brandy Chastain.
Super cool.
All right.
Alrighty.
One of my favorite phrases.
What?
And what's the price point on the great collection?
$24.99.
Discount.
Right. I think you guys might be able to get some books today.